Hello and welcome to another episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host Avik, and today we have a truly inspiring guest with us, Lauren Fay. So welcome to the show, Lauren.
Thank you so much for having me today. Grateful to be here.
Lovely, that's really great. So Lauren, like before we start our conversation today, I would love to mention this to all of our listeners that Lauren is an alcohol-free empowerment coach, Reiki master teacher, and sound bowl practitioner. So dedicated to helping ambitious women reclaim their freedom through elective and conscious sobriety. So, as a coach, strategist, mindset genius, and spiritual goddess, she employs a holistic approach that guides women to embrace the sobriety as a deeply personal and sacred journey of the self discovery. So, her method unlocks confidence, unleashes the ambition, and also the intuition. So, and at the same time foster lasting transformation aligned with one's true purpose, values, and the authentic self. So with over like 6 years of continuous sobriety from her first attempt, more than 8 years of active energy healing practice, and
Mhm.
over a decade of coaching experience, she has developed a signature holistic approach that focuses on transforming the way one thinks about alcohol. So she has helped hundreds of women uncover their potential, redefine their identities, and at the same time elevate all areas of their lives by making the um, empowering decision to create a life beyond alcohol.
Yes.
So, why to wait? Join us as we delve into Lauren's journey and learn how uh, embracing an alcohol free life can lead to personal growth and the spiritual development. So, welcome to the show again, Lauren.
Yes. Thank you so much for that introduction. It makes me excited to be here and to share this message with your audience.
Lovely, lovely. That's really good. Thank you so much. So Lauren, like as I was mentioning about the elective sobriety. So, if you can share a bit about this concept with the listeners, like, and also like, what does elective and conscious sobriety mean to you? So how it differ?
Yeah. So there's this common misconception that the only reason to change your relationship to alcohol or to stop drinking alcohol is because you have to have a really detrimental, big problem with it, right? Maybe your life is falling apart, or you've lost a job, you've lost your family, you're bankrupt, you're homeless, you live under a bridge. Like society's um, way of saying like this person has a problem with alcohol. And that's just not true. And so with elective and conscious sobriety, it is choosing to eliminate anything. And in this case, we're talking about alcohol, but choosing to eliminate anything that is getting in the way of you living your best life, that's getting in the way of you feeling the way you want to feel. Maybe that's robbing you of your potential, of your fully tapped in purpose, right? Of your happiness. And so elective and conscious sobriety is recognizing that your definition of it being a problem is your own personal sacred definition. And at any point in your life, you get to decide that you want to make a change. At any point, you don't have to have it be so bad that your world blows up and then you make a change. It could just be, hey, my life isn't good enough as it stands today. And so I'm going to change this thing that I know is interfering with where I want to be. And that's the elective part of it. The conscious part of it is recognizing having the awareness that, oh, this one thing is probably getting in my way, or this one thing is impacting me at a deeper level than maybe I was really aware of at first, but now I'm conscious of it. So I'm going to do something about it. And that's why, like, as an empowerment coach, it's very empowering for someone to make this choice because they're choosing it on their own accord, on their own volition, and they're conscious about where it can take them and how it can really open up their life. So there's a lot of empowerment behind it.
Wow, that's lovely. So also like for the holistic approach, if you can explain like your holistic approach to the coaching and how it incorporates elements like Reiki, sound bowl practice. So,
Yeah. Yeah, holistic approach is really total body, right? Whole body. So we're talking about the physical body, we're talking about the emotional body, mental body, and also the spiritual body. And so when we think about drinking alcohol, it's very easy to tune into the physical body and how it impacts us physically. Maybe someone is waking up with hangovers, or someone is always having headaches or brain fog, or they are red or putting on weight or losing weight, whatever it might be, right? It's very easy to come up with the physical repercussions of drinking alcohol. But we also want to look at, how is it making you feel emotionally? What feelings are being triggered in you because of this consumption of something that, in a frequency vibrational standpoint, is a depressant, like low vibe, right? We can look at the mental body. Where is it taking your thoughts? Where is it taking your beliefs? How is it making you feel about yourself and what you believe is possible for yourself? How is it interfering with your potential for manifestation, law of attraction, and expressing your fullest purpose and potentiality? So how is it affecting the mental body? And then, of course, with the spiritual body, just your belief in something bigger than yourself, right? Your belief in something that can help guide you into a better, more fulfilling direction. Is that belief available for you? And so with the holistic approach, we're looking at so much more than just the alcohol. And with Reiki and sound, one of the reasons why I love those two modalities so much is it really encourages the person to tune into their body
hmm,
and to feel what's moving through them, right? To tune into their body and to feel when something is a yes, or when something is a no, or when they're getting like little nudges that something isn't quite right or something needs to change. And truth be told, when someone is consuming alcohol at a higher consumption, that gets blocked, right? Like that inner guidance system completely gets blocked. And
sure.
so with the tuning into the body, you start to come back home to like your own true north, your own inner compass guidance system. So that's the holistic part of it. It's like, we're not just going to talk about the alcohol, we're going to talk about all of the things that make you a multifaceted human, which is the best part of this experience. Like, we're so much more than just these physical bodies, right?
Exactly. So, okay, I mean, you focus on transforming the way one thinks
Mhm.
about the alcohol. So, what are some of the key mindset shifts that you encourage in your clients?
Right. Mindset is everything. So if someone goes into changing their relationship to alcohol and is only thinking about missing out on it, or is only thinking about how they're going to be deprived without it, deprivation, then they fail to see everything that they're actually gaining. So if we're only looking at what we're losing, such as losing my nightly ritual, losing the way I connect with my husband over dinner with a glass of wine, losing the way that I connect with my friends. If we're only thinking about alcohol and what we're going to lose when we stop drinking, then we completely fail to see everything that we're going to gain. Maybe we're going to first off gain better sleep, gain more mental clarity, gain better energy, and all of that allows you to choose how you want to show up in this world and what identity you want to embody. And so one of the key mindset shifts is not what you're missing out on, but what you're going to gain when you make this shift. And when you start to only think about how much better your life can be, then it excites you to give up the thing that's going to stop you from getting there. Right? So why would you want to keep doing something that's going to block you from going where you want to go in life? And that's a huge shift, because then suddenly you're not going to want that thing anymore. You're not going to want the thing that's going to keep you trapped. You're not going to want the thing that's going to keep you stuck. You're not going to want to keep doing the thing that's going to keep you feeling not good, because you know that this is where you want to go and you can't have that to get there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so also about the spiritual development, like how does embracing the I mean, alcohol-free lifestyle contribute to the spiritual development and the personal growth as well?
For me, my understanding of it is that you're just no longer checked out. right? When you're not drinking alcohol, you're fully checked in.
Mhm.
And that means that you're here to experience all of it. So when you drink alcohol, you're not just numbing out from the bad feelings that you don't want to be feeling, if
Mhm.
that's why you're drinking. You're also numbing out from your joy. You're also numbing out from your happiness, from your excitement, from your love. Alcohol isn't selective. You don't get to choose what alcohol is going to numb out from you. And so when you remove the alcohol, you're fully available to experience it all. And to me, it's an act of bravery to
Mhm.
be willing to step into this experience, knowing that, hey, that means you're also going to feel the not so good feelings. Hey, that means you're also going to be fully present for the really, really, really hard times. But I see that as a miracle. I see that as a blessing to just fully show up, be willing to be guided into the best direction, into the creative solution to the problem that you're trying to solve, while being completely present and not checked out in any way. And so that spiritual connection is the art of surrender. It's the art of willingness. It's the art of curiosity. And it's the art of trust. And those things just get really muted when someone is highly saturated in the consumption of alcohol.
Mhm. Got it. So, on this, I mean, in what ways does living alcohol-free um unlock the confidence and the ambition in the woman that you coach?
Well, I have to be completely honest with you, is that it doesn't start out that way. So when a woman first gives up her relationship to alcohol, I can guarantee you that the majority do not feel confident right out of the gate,
Oh.
because it's an identity crisis. It's like, who am I now? How am I supposed to show up in this world? What are the things that I like to do? There's so much confusion riding on the coattails of a very empowering decision. And so confidence is not the first thing that most women experience. It's actually more like, what now? What do I do now? Right? However, the more and more time that a woman practices showing up alcohol free over and over again, and the more time she's confronted with a challenging situation and she's alcohol free, or she's, blessed with an incredible celebration and she's alcohol free, the more and more that she does that, the more that that confidence gets built up inside of her, that she can trust herself to
Hmm.
show up in her life without alcohol. She can trust herself to show up in these events or these things or these, with these people, places, things without alcohol. And so confidence is absolutely a skill that is both a skill set and a mindset that needs to be strengthened and practiced through repetition, through commitment, and through dedication. And that just means that the woman every single day chooses to remain alcohol free, regardless of what life throws at her. And then over time, she feels confident. So, for instance, I'm 6.5 years sober, in terms of it's been 6.5 years since I've had alcohol. And I am so confident to show up in anything that life throws at me without alcohol. But in the beginning, did I feel that way? In the beginning, no. It's like, what do I do now? Where's my trusted companion? I'm really used to using this thing to help me get through the hard times. What do I do now?
Hmm.
So that's where the coaching comes in. It's like learning new skill sets, learning new tools, creating new habits, creating new rituals. And when you do all of those things, you just naturally start to strengthen that confidence inside of you.
Amazing. So, so what are some of the common challenges that your clients face when um, transitioning to an alcohol-free life? So, if you can
I
share.
would say, oh, sorry, you finish your question?
I was saying, like, if you can share some of the stories, or maybe something about it.
Yeah, I would say probably hands down the most common challenge that the women who I work with face, and also just my observation plus myself, my own personal experience,
Hmm.
is social situations.
Okay.
So, so I live in the United States, and here and so I only want to speak for what I know personally. Everything is heavily saturated in alcohol. Everything revolves around alcohol. You go to a funeral, there's alcohol. You go to a wedding, there's alcohol. You go to a baby shower, there's alcohol. A birthday party, all holidays. Everything is a permission slip to drink alcohol. And so suddenly the woman's not drinking alcohol anymore. And so she doesn't fit in.
True.
She doesn't fit into these events anymore.
Mm.
And so the mindset shift around it is, but is it true that alcohol is actually required to do any of these things? Is it true that you need alcohol to celebrate someone's life? Is it true that you need alcohol to celebrate a holiday with your family? Is it true that you need alcohol on a Friday after work? Are any of those things actually true? And so we have to start reframing our beliefs around the events themselves to then show up and remain alcohol free. Now it's rather uncomfortable to show up to an event being alcohol free when everyone around you is drinking. And so the second part of it is also starting to ask yourself, what are my priorities? What are my values? And what's important to me? And it's very possible that some of the things that the woman is used to doing just won't be of priority anymore, which means now she has to recreate her social network, or she has to recreate her habits and her hobbies, finding new things that she likes to do that don't involve alcohol anymore. So there's a lot of trial and error in the beginning where maybe you still try to do things the old way, just without drinking alcohol.
Mm.
And some of those things are going to work just fine. And other times it's just not going to feel good at all. And the end goal is for the woman to feel good. So if going and doing the old thing just without alcohol doesn't feel good anymore, then maybe you don't do that thing anymore and you go and you try to do something new. And so I started to go to yoga. I started to go to just different gatherings that just didn't have alcohol involved in them. And that way it was just completely off the table. So hands down, that would be the biggest challenge for really any woman, and maybe anyone really who's changing their relationship to alcohol, is to just, what do I do now? What do I do with myself now? And how do I still put myself into these situations that revolve around alcohol and abstain from drinking the alcohol? So I help women navigate their first family vacations. I help women navigate the holidays. I help women navigate going to concerts without drinking alcohol. You name it. Anything can be a reason to drink alcohol, and we have to learn to not drink alcohol at these things.
That's really a great habit you are building. So that's a great thing you are doing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So also, I mean, how to practice, I mean, for the energy healing purpose, I'm saying, like, how do practices like Reiki, sound healing support the journey of the sobriety and the transformation, personal transformation?
Reiki and sound healing are just so special to me. They're such beautiful healing modalities, and they're very, very supportive to this journey because they promote relaxation and
Uh-huh.
they promote inner peace, right? The intention of Reiki and sound is to come back home to yourself. So to come back to peace, to come back to a gorgeous neutral zone, to come back to love. And all of those things are radically disrupted when drinking alcohol. When we're drinking alcohol, we're throwing our life into like a blender, into just one big tornado. And with Reiki and sound, the intention is to calm the nervous system and to neutralize. And in that neutrality, in that calm, we can begin to see things clearly. And we can begin to choose things in the direction of love versus choosing things in the direction of fear.
Hmm.
So Reiki and sound are very, very powerful for someone to just learn what it's like to be with themselves, and also to learn what it feels like to actually be a peaceful human, because alcohol is the quickest way to disrupt your peace. And so for someone who's consuming alcohol, having a disrupted peace is very familiar. Like, we are used to life being chaotic. And so when we actually start to experience peace, although one might say that's what they want, they also might be like, I have no idea what to do with it. I've never experienced this before. This is unfamiliar to me. I don't know what this peace is.
Hmm.
And so Reiki and sound can help someone practice being at peace, help someone practice relaxing, help someone practice breathing deeper breaths, right? It's a great way to ground back down and come back into your body.
That's so lovely. So, in any success story, or maybe any moment that you remember about uh, the sound healing and the Reiki related to the same, anything you want to share?
So I started receiving Reiki energy healing before I stopped drinking alcohol. And
Okay.
so I was seeing a Reiki master because I was struggling in my life.
Hmm.
And I didn't really connect the dots that alcohol was a culprit of it, that alcohol was a contributor to the disruption in my life.
Uh-huh.
So I was seeing a Reiki master to try to like to try to calm down. And then because I was like experiencing just love over love, like receiving love, it finally clicked that drinking alcohol was the most not loving kind thing I could do for myself.
Hmm.
And so that click was when I decided I have to stop drinking alcohol. If I want to be free in my life, I need to stop doing the thing that's keeping me trapped. And so it was like a real big, I call it like miraculous spontaneous sobriety, because it went from the darkest night of the soul to instantaneous decision, choice, and freedom in one decision. And I've been sober ever since. And from there, I kept receiving Reiki. And then only months into my alcohol-free life, I also got trained as a Reiki master. So immediately I brought it into my own, how I show up in this world and what I offer other people. And because I was so honest and forthcoming about my story with alcohol, with addiction, with anxiety, depression, all of those things, I started to attract clients to my Reiki table who were experiencing the same thing. These aren't people who would say I'm an alcoholic. These aren't people who would say I need to go to treatment, but they knew that they were struggling with something and they wanted to experience a different way. And so my Reiki practice really ended up thriving off of people who came in who were experiencing these same things, you know, who were similar to me. It was like, there's a problem in my life, and
Hmm.
I want to try to just manage my energy to fix the problem. So that's probably the biggest, the thing with me was the Reiki just helped me see things more clearly. And I feel like that happens a lot for my clients too. And really, any of your viewers, your listeners who have experienced Reiki healing modality, they might say the same thing. Like, it just helped me see things more clearly and to trust the guidance that I was receiving from my own self. Right.
Wow, that's lovely. So,
Yeah.
next thing I would love to come to you, like, what advice would you give to someone who wants to become an alcohol-free empowerment coach, or is considering a career in holistic health and wellness?
For someone who is considering wanting to be alcohol free, the first question that I would have them ask themselves is why? Why? And to really know why they want to do it. Why is that decision important to them? What is the outcome they're hoping to reach? What are the desires that they want to have? Or what do they desire to have, I should say? What is the life that they want to have? So, like, why do you want to do it? Because if you don't really know why, then there's no clear fuel to your direction. You're kind of directionless. You're just almost going with the wind and seeing where it takes you. But if you know why you want to do it, then you have a focus and you can move in the direction of that outcome. So that would be the first thing that I would really encourage anyone who's considering this is like, why? Why do you want to go into energy work? What purpose are you here to serve? What mission are you here to accomplish? and have that be like deeply rooted in you to fuel all of the actions that's going to be required for you to take in order to get the thing that you say you want. Now, the second thing, when it specifically comes to alcohol, is it's very important for someone to have their own personal acknowledgement of it being a problem to them. So, and I'm not saying like it being a problem the way society would say, like you have to have a problem with alcohol. I'm just saying like your own personal, my life is not good enough as it stands, and this one thing is in the way. And there needs to be that self admittance, because if there isn't a problem, then there's nothing to be fixed. And so we have to decide like there is a problem here that needs to be fixed. Therefore, I'm willing to take the actions I need to take to fix the problem. So the problem is going to be different for everyone. And in fact, you could use any word other than problem, since problem kind of has a stigma attached to it, and we want to be free of stigma. But that person has to have self-ownership and a really like sacred understanding that this isn't working for me. Therefore, I'm going to make this decision, and therefore I'm going to take these actions, and therefore I'm going to stick with it, even if it gets really hard. And therefore I'm going to celebrate my wins as I'm doing the thing. So those are the two things that I would throw out as the most important.
Understood, understood. And also about the impact of life and the relationship. So how has your um, own journey of sobriety impacted your personal life, relationships, and the overall sense of purpose?
Well, I think the most important relationship in the room is your relationship with yourself, first and foremost. And once I stopped drinking alcohol, now it wasn't instantaneous, because again, you go through this identity crisis and this like lack of confidence until you don't. But once I stopped drinking alcohol, I was on the trajectory of liking myself more and more and more. And so I really believe that a lot of people who struggle with alcohol is for two reasons. One is they've fallen out of love with themselves, or they've disconnected from their purpose.
Okay.
And so when you remove that thing, then you have the opportunity to fall back in love with yourself and to reconnect with your purpose. So in terms of relationships, once I started to honor me, like making me the most important person in the equation, I wasn't getting sober for my family. I wasn't getting sober for my job, or for, for women who are getting sober for their children. If you do it for yourself first and foremost, and you start to like yourself, then the way you show up in the world is going to positively impact all of the relationships around you. And so I can say with conviction, the women that I work with are better mothers now because they're not drinking alcohol, are better employees or employers now because they're not drinking alcohol, or better wives and lovers now because they're not drinking alcohol. I have testimonial after testimonial after testimonial of these things being true. And I can say for myself, like, I'm a better human because I do not drink alcohol. So it absolutely positively impacts all relationships, but first and foremost, the relationship with yourself. And then you experience all the other greatness.
That's a lovely saying, I would say. Yeah, one should love themselves first, and then only because we are human being and we should love ourselves. So great.
Yeah.
That's the lovely thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you everyone for tuning into this episode of Healthy Mind and Healthy Life. And I believe all of you have found our conversation with Lauren as inspiring and enlightening as I did. So her journey, like as I already mentioned, her journey and the holistic approach to the alcohol-free living offer the invaluable insights into how we all uh, can embrace the personal growth and the spiritual development. So with this, like if you have enjoyed today's episode, please sure to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. And because your feedback helps us to bring you more conversations like this with the great guests. So, so remember that journey to a healthier and more fulfilling life is deeply, deeply personal and uh, unique to each one of us. So, embracing the sobriety, enhancing our mindset, and nurturing the full potential, or nurturing our spiritual well-being are powerful steps towards unlocking our true potential. So thank you once again for joining on Healthy Mind and Healthy Life. Keep mindful, stay healthy, stay mindful, and keep thriving. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Great episode.